The best things that make us happy is when we do things for others.
If that voice is inside of me, you'll see it in my body language.
Having smart people around you can give you a lot of reality check.
My mantra is finite heartbeats, infinite possibilities.
It is so hard to be humble, and yet the only way to learn is to be humble.
I've also never seen an Excel spreadsheet that tells the truth.
Eric, you have an example where you made a bad judgment on betting on an entrepreneur?
Oh, plenty. The most obvious example is when I get enamored with a great storyteller. You know, storytelling is a very, very big part of being an effective entrepreneur. Not because it's needed for fundraising. Of course, it's needed there, but you can having a great narrative and being able to deliver that story could make all the difference.
Because people would then listen. That's the thing, you know.
People will listen and people will act on what you're saying or you're asking. Right?
They remember. They take something away. It's a key.
Yeah. So I've gotten suckered into a romantic story. You go, hey, this could be impactful to society if we can succeed. And, who doesn't want to impact society? So we've made plenty of mistake to think that this entrepreneur can deliver and execute on that because it's a problem worth solving. And, you don't know until after the fact that, just like the saying goes, you really don't know what you bought until you've already wired your money. Right. So, yeah. So plenty of those examples.
Do you usually figure that out?
I've had examples where I figured it out within a month. I was like, oh shit, this is not a guy that I should have backed, but too late. Make the most out of a problem. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you take risk on people. Investing is it's a contact sport. You will, it's a people business. You will encounter lots of people and you would have to have a nice mix of commercial mindset and psychology in judging people.
Do you risk the money from the fund perspective on ideas, or
we have on the past? We tend to overweight on the founders themselves, but once in a while you hear an idea that's so compelling that you tend to lower the bar on the founder because you think it's an idea that's worth pursuing, whoever does it. But what I've learned over the years is a great entrepreneur can probably make a crappy product work, but a suboptimal or a mediocre entrepreneur may not be able to make a great product work. So it really boils down to the quality of the founder. Yeah.
So this is one of obviously my beliefs, and I didn't coerce you to get to here. Obviously, you came to that conclusion yourself. But I believe that it's about people, and people are all unique. We all have our own perspectives. We all have our own drivers of satisfaction. We're all, I mean, it doesn't matter how many leadership books you've read. But at that moment, you could practice any kind of things that is there, and you choose. And it's that choice that you may be the best accountant, but being a good accountant or a good marketing guy doesn't make you a good entrepreneur, because it's more than just a one-dimensional craft.
And I think that's the reason why lots of successful people that came from corporate don't necessarily translate to good entrepreneurs. And sometimes they conflate the idea of, hey, I've been a very successful executive and this is a modest idea. This is an idea that I can execute on. But they forget that the reason they were successful corporates is because they had all the trappings. They had all the social safety nets. They had the guardrails. They came in, they're standing on the shoulders of giants before them. And when you're building your own business, you start from scratch. None of those bells and whistles are there. It's either you make payroll in a month or you don't, right?
So
So
most of the
there's-
time, I recommend to people early stage, do not hire from big
yes,
firm.
absolutely, absolutely. That is a belief of mine from day one. It's unfair for me to say that because I've only spent less than 5 years in big corporate, and my time there was really more of a pit stop because I wanted to do my own thing. But having seen what I saw way back then, and knowing and having seen how corporate works, 9 out of 10 times they will not translate to good entrepreneurs.
Why do you think that is? Is it because corporates are not risk takers? Because corporates are afraid of failure? Because they're big
Well,
and have all
there's
the resources? What?
And I'm sure there are many factors, but the ones that are obvious in my mind is, if you've succeeded as an executive, mid-level, high-level executive, and you venture on your own because you have you have an itch that you want to scratch, you may not succeed because you're not as hungry as let's go back to the prototypical 24-year-old, right? That 24-year-old may not have lived life yet, but that 24-year-old may be more hungry than your typical 45 or 55-year-old executive.
Thanks for watching. You can catch the full Expert Circle sessions through the links in the description or the pinned comment below. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you inside the Academy.